Welcome to another episode of Educating Homebuyers, the podcast. I'm your host, Brady Hay, and my mortgage team has over 9 years of mortgage experience here in Des Moines, Iowa. Whether you're buying your first home, upgrading, investing, or simply just curious about the market, this show is all about helping you and future homebuyers feel informed, educated, and comfortable as you take your next step. Each week, I sit down with real estate professionals, past clients, and local experts to unpack real stories, real advice, and what you actually need to know when buying a home today. Without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Welcome everybody to another episode of Educating Homebuyers. I'm your host, Brady Hay, and today's guest brings over 2 decades of real estate experience. From helping hundreds of homebuyers and sellers across central Iowa to investing in flip properties, rentals, short-term Airbnbs, and to now diving into the commercial real estate space as well. Today's guest is a real estate agent who has been, frankly, one of my best friends over the last 8 to 10 years. And I'm super excited to have today's guest, Chris Ranallo. Chris, welcome to Educating Homebuyers.
Brady, what's up, man?
How are you, buddy?
I'm great. This is what a cool. I like your new crib.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, it's as you know, I've been kind of dabbling in the podcast space for 12 to 18 months for now, but kind of taking things to the next level with the big thanks to Amplified and the crew for kind of helping out with the studio. And yeah, excited to give you a platform to share, a little bit about your real estate career. Educating homebuyers is obviously the premise. So we want to share some valuable stuff today, but if there's anybody who has enough experience in real estate, it's you. You've been doing it for what, 20 years now? Not to put any age on your face, but
you already said 2 decades. I mean, I didn't know if I was supposed to be like a dinosaur coming in here.
Yeah. Could you have dyed your hair gray or anything for us?
Man,
you know what though? You're still young at heart, and that's what I love about you. Is despite your experience, you've got a young attitude with everything you take on, and whether it's real estate or music or anything that you're involved in, and being a young dad too is awesome. And I know how important those little girls are to you too. So yeah, would love
being
to
a young dad or being an old dad with young kids.
No, you're still young. Come on.
I'm just kidding. No, I appreciate that. I guess conversely, it's really been fun watching you grow. I mean, I remember, like you said, 8 to 10 years ago. I mean,
you're one of the first realtors I ever shook hands with when I started.
I remember,
seriously.
I remember you getting up there and talking, and was that with Pearl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago.
You'd gone up there and you just, and you won me over. I mean, you came in and you were in front of a group of like 7 or 8 realtors.
Yeah.
And instantly I'm like, this guy cares. It's more than just a transaction. Like, he wants people to trust him, and he wants to have a lifelong relationship. So kudos to you. Everything you're doing is great. This is another testament to you trying the podcast thing, but not just 1 foot in.
Yeah.
Like, you're in it. That's what you're doing. So
kind of don't have a choice, right? And I think that's what really holds me accountable is, especially now having a studio and a crew behind it is I don't really have a choice, and I want people to understand the heart behind it. It's not to boast. It's not to, put the highlight on me. It's truly to give back to the people and frankly help educate. And that's the heart behind it. And frankly, the name behind it, right, is to have a platform for people to understand what it takes to buy a house, what the current real estate market looks like. And you hit the nail on the head. And it's cool that you felt that when I was first starting, but just knowing that I care and that I want people to be educated on what they're getting into. So
absolutely.
Love that. So, okay. So 2 decades, not to again highlight that again, but give us a high level view into your journey. How did you get into real estate? What's that looked like over the last, few years, and kind of where's your vision moving forward? Sure.
Well, I know you know this, not everyone does, but music has been a big backbone to my life.
Yeah.
And I've been a professional musician for, probably 30 some years. Like literally sneaking in the back door of a bar, try to play keyboards and sing.
At 4?
Yeah, right.
Because you're only 34, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad. But so I started doing music, and I always loved music, and I loved the challenge of it. I also have the other side of my brain, which is, the entrepreneur side, trying to help be a liaison, helping people better their lives.
Yeah.
And so I just was around other realtors and home builders, and I have home builders in my generations of home builders in my family. And so I just ended up talking to a good friend of mine. His name's Adam Grubb, Jerry's Homes.
Yep.
And I was on tour in Vail, Colorado in 2005, and talking to Adam, and I'm like, this real estate thing looks pretty cool. I wonder if I could, maybe jump in. And he's like, he's like, you're in Vail right now on tour? Get your license. He goes, get online.
Yeah.
You can do everything online. I got online, took
dial-up internet back then.
Oh, it was like, yeah, it was.
That was actually really accurate.
Yeah, it was brutal.
That's
it was
crazy.
Because you go through it, and anyone who's taken the online courses, they're so much more arduous than should be in class. But did it, and I, passed the online thing. Came back, took my test, and I was fortunate enough. Jerry's Homes gave me an opportunity. I came in, and that was it. I got my license in 06.
Yeah.
If you remember that year.
Yeah. Right before chaos.
Yeah, right before chaos. But it was. I'm so thankful that that's when I got my license.
Yeah.
Because talk about drinking from a fire hose.
Yeah. You didn't know any different.
Didn't know any different.
Yeah.
And then talk about trying to learn how to pivot.
Sure.
Immediately I got into new construction, and we were selling houses.
Yeah.
I sat at my first open house and sold it, right?
Yeah.
I had someone come in, they wanted to write an offer.
This game's easy.
I was like, okay, let's go. Sweet. I'm like, wait, how do you write an offer?
Right.
So I started writing an offer, did it. You fast forward and got into 07, and it was starting to get a little hairy.
Sure.
And start to see all the news media, what's going on with the financial collapse.
Yeah.
People were losing jobs. Rates were going haywire. A lot of things were happening.
Yeah.
Well, I continued pushing through, and then I remember in 08, that's when I'm like, okay,
yeah,
I'm really glad I got my guitar.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm glad that I can still have this, but I want to do real estate, and I want to find a way to do it. So with that being said, from 08 on is where I truly learned how to be a realtor in many different ways, and how to pivot. And from that point on, I really jumped into investment properties.
Okay.
Helping people buy investment properties. I owned some of my own.
Okay.
So I learned, the good and the bad on that end. And then really, as I started to get into 2011 and 12, that's when I kind of started doing more of the group or team aspect of it.
Yeah.
And really I really focused on resale.
Yeah.
But I also was focusing on helping investors.
Sure.
And now, getting into, here we are, 2025, my focus is on kind of all of it, but I'm really, really focused on helping investors, both with residential, commercial, but helping just, a person that wants to buy or sell a house.
Yeah.
Really. Just educating them, making sure they're comfortable with it, and making sure that they have the right resources. Like, for instance, pointing them to you, because I know that you're going to take care of them. You're going to answer their questions. It's not a call line.
No doubt.
Right.
Yep.
And you're going to be there for the good and the bad.
Yep.
And that's where I'm at. So real estate, 20 years. Yeah. But,
love it.
But a lot of it's changed too.
Would love to have you kind of touch on, because it's a unique perspective of being able to experience, the 08 situation and kind of what we're facing now, where home affordability has significantly increased over the last few years.
Yep.
Would love to have you compare the two, because I think that there's always kind of the media, or someone at least, is trying to draw lines between the two and make it seem like what we're experiencing right now is similar to what you experienced back then. Touch on that a little bit. How do you compare today's real estate market in 2025 to what you saw happen in the 2007, 2008 time period?
That's a great question. The biggest thing that I noticed was in 08, what we had is just a huge abundance of listings, right? Lots of inventory.
Was that an immediate thing?
It all kind of came like a wildfire. It really did. It came at once. So yes, you're already dealing with inventory, and then all of a sudden it was like, okay. So imagine this. Imagine we've had in our market low inventory for years. You're right. Well, imagine like on the new construction side, you help a buyer. You're doing the loan for them. They buy a townhome. They're like, this is great. I love it. They move in.
Yeah.
Awesome. And 3 months later, now they're building a new building across the street, and that same unit with much better upgrades is $30,000 less
than what it was.
So that's what was happening. And then the same thing. So you had a lot of new construction inventory. So people were buying homes that were new construction, single family and multifamily. They're competing against maybe the same builder or another builder. But you're comparing one box versus the other. Well, this box has, granite countertops, and this box, has a walkout. And so you're going against, but it's $40,000 less expensive. Oh, okay.
And it's never been lived in.
Yep. Oh, and by the way, they're offering an incentive because they really want you to move in. So here's the $10,000 incentive that you're getting to buy a new home. So that's part of what was happening.
Okay.
Also, you were finding people that were losing their jobs. And so instantly that foreclosure rate was going
people weren't making those payments.
100%.
Sure.
So now you're going against foreclosures.
Yeah.
Okay. So you might have a beautiful home that's in great shape that you have great equity in, but the person down the street just needs to dump it.
Yeah.
That's what you're going against. So the biggest difference I notice now is that you have, we're not there. We're not there with that. Yes, we're seeing some more inventory, which I think can be a very good thing, but not to what I saw in 08. Now, we're not through 2025.
Yeah.
I just think there were a lot of market conditions that were different. A lot of market conditions.
Well, I think the big thing that drove a lot of those foreclosures is frankly the lack of qualification that people went through to buy those houses, right?
That's exactly
those
right.
people were not properly vetted and qualified for the houses they were buying.
Yep.
They were in these adjustable rates where, their payments probably shot up because of those adjustment periods ending.
Yes.
And then they, either lost their job or weren't making the money that they said they were making on the application when they went to buy it. And so now they have this payment they're stuck with that they can't afford to make with, frankly, less income or, not being able to support that payment. Whereas in today's market, I feel more confident because of the vetting process that we've been going through for the last 13 years since that whole time frame has changed. We as mortgage companies are much more thorough with our approval and qualifying process.
100%.
Which is why we ask for the things we do, the W-2s, the pay stubs, the bank statements. We want to verify and make sure that the income you're bringing in is enough to support the debt that you have. Now, big point that I'll drive home is that we can't control what happens after the closing. And so if a client makes the informed choice to take out more debt or to quit their job or do other things after the approval, that's where there could be some variables, in that and cause people to not be able to afford their debt. But I have more confidence knowing that we're going through a more secure and thorough process when qualifying people in today's market.
I mean, couldn't have said it better.
Yeah.
That is exactly what I witnessed.
Yeah.
And it was some of those movies that came out that would, focus on that time weren't far off.
Right.
When it was like, oh yeah, here's what I make. Cool. Sounds good. Great.
Writing it on a napkin. That's what I always used to say.
Let's go get you 3 houses. You ready? And you're always gonna have responsible people. There's always, there were people that would take those loans.
Yeah.
And still, I have investors that still own those properties.
Yeah. With those same loans.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they took advantage of them because they were definitely, I would say, educated and they were intelligent investors.
And that's the difference is a lot of people back then weren't educated on what they were getting themselves into. So when they have those loan terms that change or variable, it's important to understand what you're getting into, and that's why I'm a fan of, like, right now, a big program we're using is those 2-1 buy downs to make things more affordable. Well, the reason I like those is because they eliminate risk. Because the maximum that rate will ever be is what market rate is today. Whereas some of those adjustment periods, they would shoot up 4 or 5%, when that period ended, and that can create a significant, increase in their monthly budget. So, and
it could be devastating to a family that is not expecting that.
No doubt.
The other thing I'll touch on is I remember when literally one of the first deals I did was they were doing 80-20 loans. And I mean, people talk about, oh my gosh, rates, they're they're at 6.5 or 7 or whatever, don't know where they're at exactly today, because you and I both know they're going up and down. But what I've seen is between like 6.75, 7.25, right? Well, there were a lot of blended rates. And what I noticed is one of the first deals I did was 5% on the 80 and 8% on the 20.
Sure.
And that was back in 06. So it's, these rates have fluctuated. Yes, we went, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, but we obviously went through the breezy threes.
We were spoiled a little bit there, spoiled a little bit there in the early 2020s. And I think that probably skewed people's perspective a little bit as far as what an average rate should be and what a cost of owning a home should be. And frankly, it probably caused some appreciation on properties too that was a little bit artificial, which is why I would challenge people to not panic as much if you see price reductions, because they were artificially inflated when rates were so low, because demand was so high that the demand for those properties shot the prices up because people could afford the payments because of how low rates were. And so, if you see any price reductions or price corrections or however you want to phrase it, don't be panicked by that, because there was some cushion there because of how much they grew over those couple of years. But also understanding that the 5 to 8% is not that crazy expensive for borrowing money to own a home. So
and to that point, I would position that as a benefit.
Yeah.
Right. If someone's buying, I understand if you're a seller, let's say that you own a a house and you're not wanting to sell today.
Yeah.
But you're a little nervous because you're like, oh my gosh, I just saw the house down the street. They did a $30,000 price reduction.
Right.
You might be sweating a little bit, but you're not planning on selling today.
Yeah.
Right. But if you're a buyer, I would position it, and I'm sure you would maybe to your clients too. Hey, check this out.
Yeah.
Like, I know you're worried that rates might be at 7% and they were at 3% a year and a half ago.
There's some motivated sellers out there.
Yeah. And so let's talk about it. Now, instead of that property being $40,000 higher, here you go.
Yep.
And that's where we can look at it. So I think that we just have to make sure when we educate that we have to look at, all of the characteristics that really come into making that buying decision.
Yeah. And I think you hit the nail on the head there with the, you're only losing money if you choose to sell that right now. No different than if you buy a stock.
Yep.
If your stock price cuts in half, it doesn't actually cut in half unless you choose to sell the stock when it's cut in half.
Correct.
Now, it doesn't mean that that's a good thing, right? Obviously, we don't want that to be the case, but there's going to be ebbs and flows with any investment, and it's important to understand your goals and understand too that owning real estate is not meant to be a 6-month to 18-month game necessarily. It's usually meant to own real estate for a long period of time, and if you look over the last 30 to 40 years, it's been a proven fact that owning real estate is an incredible investment, and I don't think we can deny that.
Absolutely.
Touch on, you mentioned investing and how important investors are to you. Kind of share a couple of the experiences you've had in that space, and whether it's your flips or whether it's your Airbnbs or I know you're dabbling in the commercial space too. Would love to give you an opportunity to share about kind of some of the journeys you've been through there. See if there's any investors listening. Yeah,
the investment game it's just, to me, it's exciting.
Yeah.
It's exciting because you're an investor yourself, and so I think you get to a point where you can look at a property, whether it's residential or commercial, and you just have so many different ways that you can utilize it.
Yeah.
So what I've done is anything from, buying a property and, renovating and selling. Done quite a few of those, and that's been a lot of fun. It's challenging, especially when you're doing multiple properties. That's when it can get really at the same time because I like I'm generaling.
Sure.
I'm also delegating. I'm doing some of the work myself. But then I'm also handling all the financial stuff, working with the investor. Doing some of the flips, but I also do a lot of the short-term rentals.
Yep.
My brother happens to be, I've learned a lot from him. My brother, Mikey, he's got a great company in Phoenix, Arizona, and they do a great job with the management side.
Yep.
So I don't want to manage. I just instantly decided that I don't want to manage personally, but I love the short-term rentals. I love the furnished side of it. I love that people can, you can almost do a flip to furnish.
Yeah.
Really enjoy that. And so I've done that for investors. I've done it for myself.
Okay.
On the commercial side, currently got a really good friend and business partner, Jason Cousineau, and we're doing the suites. And what that is we're in Johnston, Iowa. We've got a rectangle that we're building, and it's about 5,200 square feet, and it's going to have 25 different salon suites.
Very cool.
They say salon suites doesn't mean you have to be a hairdresser.
Sure.
But each of those are going to have a sink. And, the square footage, it varies. It might be between 140 and 200 square feet, but you go in there and you have your business in a box.
Yep.
So you could even do something like this.
Yeah.
Like what we're doing here.
Yep.
You could do it. Come in there, have your own space, be all set. That's really exciting because I guess what makes me most passionate about that is you're instantly going to save a business owner so much money, so much time,
and you're giving those business owners a platform to grow their business.
Yes.
Without having the overhead or risk of, owning their own space or, having to take out a big lease. Like you're going to make it an affordable way for an entrepreneur to take that next leap in growing their business. So very cool.
Yeah. So that's a lot. I really enjoy that. I think, you and I we've talked off camera a lot too. And you've asked me like, hey, what would be your dream? Or, and that's a tough question, but I would love something that I could incorporate my family.
Yeah.
Like if we could do something that I could bring my wife into, my kids, where even if it's, a beautiful, acreage property that obviously with my musical background where you could, maybe have, private events there, you could do music, you could have, tours, stuff for kids. I mean, I would say that would be awesome if there was a way to, I know there could be a way to do that. But
it just depends on how much money you want to fork over, right?
That's it. And
everything comes at a price, but
it does. But I think, it's fun to dream.
Yeah, no doubt.
So
yeah, and if there's anything I've learned over the 10 years of our friendship or however long it's been, you're never afraid to take a risk and take a leap on something, and I think that's something that I've learned from you is don't be afraid to say yes to something, and obviously do your research and be educated on it first. But I've always respected the way that you give your all to stuff you're interested in and taking a risk on stuff that, maybe you never would have thought of doing. If I would have asked you a year and a half ago that, you would have opened up salon suites, would you ever have said, yeah, sure, that's me? No, right? But you took that risk, you heard out Jason, and you said, this is something that I'm interested in. And, you're making the best of it, which is really cool. Another unique investment opportunity that I think is really cool for you to have an opportunity to share about that I know you're involved in is a brand new application called Hoodoo.
Yeah,
Would love to have you share about Hoodoo.
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm very fortunate to be brought into that. Derek Stratton, I was introduced to him almost 3 years ago, and it just, in a nutshell, it's the odd job marketplace. Yeah. It really is. I mean, it's not just based on doing home improvement jobs, but where Hoodoo is really stepping up in the Des Moines market, and now we're going into Omaha and some other, and we're in Minneapolis and some other markets. But what it does is, imagine, you got an investment property, or your own property, you need something done, you now can get on, you can list it.
Yep.
You'd be considered a lister on the platform.
Yeah.
And a doer can then bid on it.
Right.
And that's it. You get bids on what you want done, and you have the ultimate decision. There's no money that exchanges hands. You don't have to, you're not committed until you say yes. Oh, I like this bid. After that bid's accepted by you, boom, it goes into an escrow account, and it sits there until you sign off that doer came over and completed it. Yep, to your satisfaction. Because you're always going to have things, and I know with contractors and hiring things done, whatever it is, construction, anything,
you'll want some changes made, or
and are they going to come back?
Right.
If you paid them in full, the good ones will.
Yeah,
and that's why I still have the same great contractors over the 20 years.
No doubt.
There are a lot of them that won't. Oh, I got paid. No, sorry. Good luck.
Yeah,
you can do that.
Yep.
So Hoodoo's exciting because it'll cross all opportunities more so. Like you've got you and I just talking about your own home. You could have your investment properties, but now you could literally, hey, I need a photographer for my wedding.
Yeah.
I need a musician. Hey, we've actually had things on the platform. Hey, I need to hire I need a chef. For a party.
Right.
I need to hire some bartenders.
Yep. And the premise behind the name is who does it, right? That's a kind of the
Hoodoo. Who do you know?
Who do you know?
That
does this, right? Yep. And I think that the way I would describe it to anybody watching is it's an app or a platform for any odd job that you would need. And just. You post your need on there, and then on the flip side, if you're somebody who likes to get stuff done, be a doer. Go on there and complete these odd end jobs if you're very skilled in whatever the miscellaneous items are that are listed. So
I want to tell you a quick story. Yeah. This blew me away. But the number one doer on the platform is, gosh, I don't know where he's at today, but he probably has like 200 5-star reviews.
Yeah.
Which we've not been in Des Moines for a long time.
Yeah.
So that's impressive. Literally, this week, he's going to make $12,000. That's what he's taking home.
Yeah.
He's taking home $12,000, and he has a full-time other job.
Yeah.
It's just incredible.
He's just doing odds and ends
in
jobs.
1 week, and this is legit. It's just, and we have stories that where people that they lost their jobs.
Yeah.
They were downsized, and they joined the platform in the first week. They made $2,000. It's just, it's really neat to see that it makes a difference, and it moves the needle for these families.
Yep.
And for people that not only are in need, but really just that are talented.
Yeah.
That can do things. Because how many people that we know that are just, oh man, I'm going to call that person because they know what they're handy. Right. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, you've always been that guy for me. Anytime I need something done, I'm like, I'm going to call Chris because he probably has a guy that does that, right?
Now you got Hoodoo.
And I think that's kind of the premise behind this app, right? Is it gives you this platform now to be like, hey, if you need a guy for this, this is where you can go. And it's kind of a one-stop shop for all of that stuff that you need done. Because I can tell you firsthand, there's a lot of projects around my house that I don't have the wherewithal to know how to do them, or frankly, maybe I just don't want to. And so that's where this app comes into play. And I think it's a great value add for anybody watching this, is like, if you ever need anything done in your house, check out Hoodoo. I'll be sure to link it down below in the description. But yeah, excited to have you a part of that, and to see the continued growth, because I think that they've really only scratched the surface on how far they can take that thing. So
thank you. We're getting really excited for just what's around the corner.
Yeah, very cool. Well, Chris, this has been fun. I, being as close of friends as we are, I think that you and I have tons of valuable things that we could share and have conversations, but would love to just kind of like end the episode with just kind of one final, like, is there anything else that you would find super valuable for a home buyer in today's market to know? And then at the end of that, obviously give you an opportunity to plug how do they get a hold of you if they ever have questions.
You bet. I would say, do not be afraid to do your research. And if you want to get financed for a loan and you're not getting any information, you're not with the right person. I can tell you, Brady, and his team, they care. They're going to go the extra mile. And I've seen you do this so many times where they don't even end up working with you because maybe it wasn't a good fit, meaning it wasn't the right time, but you educated them.
Yep.
You walked them through and said, hey, guys, I would love to work with you. I think maybe let's just wait a little bit. And they've come back to you. Yep. Or you've gotten referrals.
No doubt.
So that's one thing I'd say. Number two, I want to leave with saying one of the biggest things that I've learned from you might have said that you learned how to say yes about things. I've learned how to say no.
Yeah.
And I think that's another important thing as an entrepreneur and as a business owner. You have to be able to say no sometimes.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that you want to hurt people's feelings, but sometimes you just can't do it all.
Yep.
And you have to be able to say no. But I'm grateful, for our friendship. I'm grateful for the tutelage. And what I love about it is whenever I walk in your office, I always feel like I learned something.
Yeah.
Or I go to Brady also puts on some really cool. Him and his team put on some good panels.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed that last panel.
Yeah.
But no, best way to reach out to me would just be I'll then link up all the information with Remax.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, check out his socials.
Yep.
I'll link everything below. Shoot him an email, give him a call anytime. Any real estate needs. I'm going to plug your music too, because he's an incredible musician.
Or should we say Decoy?
Yeah, Decoy. Check them out. They're awesome. They're doing live shows all across the state, all year long. So incredible opportunity. Chris, thanks for being such a good friend. Thanks for joining us on Educating Homebuyers. This has been another episode. Thanks, man.
Thanks, Brady.